Hey everybody, welcome back to another live trading video. I'm taking a look at EuroCAD and I just shorted 205,000 units with a risk of 100 pips above previous market structure. You can see where my stop loss is right there, and I am looking for this thing to roll over in favor of a downward trend that we've seen on the higher time frames. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through step by step the entire trade. Whether I make money or lose money, you'll be able to see the results towards the end of this video, and I'll put it up on YouTube no matter what happens. So here's the thing. What we're looking at is if you look up here, so this is where the stop loss is, and I think that this is a pretty straightforward stop loss level. If we look left, what we can see is that the EuroCAD has had some pretty big rejections upon reaching certain levels. And after reaching this level here, I noticed that we had a big pop to the upside just prior to seeing a really strong rejection from sellers. Then what I did is I got down on my lower time frames and I said, okay, well, now let's look for a potential entry. So this is the 1 hour chart. And what you can see is that not only did we get a rejection, we actually got a nice little double top there on the 1 hour chart, and then a sell-off breaking through levels of support here. Big key spot. What we started to see is on the lower time frames, just a nice little key break of structure. And then one more thing is we actually retested this area here. Right as the New York session is getting started, you can see we broke and retested on the lower time frames and now are starting to fall to the downside. So what I'm looking for is a pretty quick continuation here. If this thing starts to rally and break back support, my stop loss is in place so that I can only lose a certain amount of money. So we've got that covered. But again, from a technical analysis perspective, I really like this trade. Again, a big key break to the downside. This candle here showed big sellers were interested in this potential area. So we'll see if I can catch more downside here on the trade. Now, before I jump into hyperdrive and go into waiting for this trade to make a next move, let me explain one more component to this idea. So this morning, what I usually do when I start out my trading day is I look at the market scanner that our team uses, which is called the A1 Edge Finder. And this tool is basically it takes several key metrics that many traders, ourselves included, pay attention to. For example, you have things like the commitment of traders data, which is smart money tracking. We have retail sentiment, so we can see what the crowd is doing. Seasonality, which tells us historically what something does in the average month. So for example, we might see EuroCAD. Actually, in this case, it tends to have a positive month in the month of August, but most of these other indicators go against the EuroCAD, meaning they are bearish signals. So for us, retail sentiment, the crowd is super long on EuroCAD, so that's actually a positive. In fact, what we can do is now that we have an idea of this showing up as a strong sell, we can actually narrow in and take a look at EuroCAD specifically. If I pull up the EuroCAD chart here, what you can see is it's getting a strong sell. It has some target ideas in mind, -6, and here's a breakdown of each one of the categories. We have GDP growth, for example, favors Canada. We have inflation, lower in Canada, that favors Canada, so those are giving positive indicators towards shorting the euro and buying the Canadian dollar. Unemployment is lower in Canada. That's strong for an economy. And then interest rates are higher in Canada. That's attractive for foreign investment. All of these components go into what makes our score, and then we're able to take that and then apply our logic to the chart. So again, that's the reason behind the trade. I'm short on the EuroCAD here with a stop loss in place. I can only lose a certain amount of money. The setup here on the 4 hour chart looks pretty good to me, and I am willing to take this risk. So what we'll do now is I'll pause the video, and once this chart starts to move again, I'll come back and let you guys know what my next move is, how I plan stops, etc. I've just alerted this to members, so we'll give this some time. And remember, if you want access to, sorry, this is the wrong trade. Here it is. I just alerted this to members. If you would like access to these trade alerts, you can get them inside of the link in the description below, as well as our market scanner, the A1 Edge Finder. Okay, we'll pause the video and come back soon. Okay guys, so it is about a day later here, and we are currently floating around $2,000 on the trade. We did in fact get a nice flush to the downside from our level. It seems like the entry point was pretty good here, and our bias to short based on the market scanner that we use, as well as our technicals, seems to be playing out well so far. But we have to be very cautious here, because this is where things get interesting. Very often people focus heavily on the entries, and I understand entries are exciting, they're cool, they're flashy, but what matters more, in my personal opinion, in my trading experience, is not the entry, but actually the trade management. We have $2,000 here. How are we going to protect the chances of this becoming a bigger profit while also not giving away every cent of this? Well, there's no perfect answer to that. I wish there was, we'd all be trading millionaires, but here's what we can do. I'm gonna lock in just $89. I'm gonna lock in basically a break-even trade here. So nothing crazy, of course. This reintroduces the idea that we could still walk away with nothing, but it takes away the idea that we're no longer gonna lose $1,500 if this thing breaks out to the upside. So I am willing to take that trade. Yes, because I could still get broken even on this trade, which would be a little bit annoying. But the cool thing here is that we are floating a good bit of profit, and I want to give this thing a chance to continue to run into more profit. Now, this target zone here is not the point at which I will go ahead and take profits on the trade. What it is though, it is a point where I'll actually start to really rack in a stop loss here that's locked into profit. So for example, I would like to give this thing some room. I don't want to trail this stop too tight. So what I'm looking for is this thing to come down into this zone. And if we do really start to get down to the target zone there, perhaps I'll go ahead and lock in more profit on the trade. But what I'm actually truthfully looking at on this trade is not just a quick move from here to here. My move that I'm looking for, if we can get it, is a flush down to this previous swing low, as well as potentially a breakout to the downside. Now I'm getting ahead of myself because we're not quite there, but what I'm looking for here just briefly is a overall continuation of this longer term trend, not just a retest of the low of this consolidation phase. So when I look at this and I'm saying, okay, what's the next move? Well, the next move here is to sit on my hands and wait, because this thing could continue to trend lower and lower and lower. And if that happens, my job is not to squander the trade by putting a stop loss right here. My job is to trail this thing and let my idea play out to the max, if possible, while still reducing my risk each time that I possibly can. So I have a stop loss at break even, so I can't lose any more money at this point. I'll, at the worst case, walk away with a $90 profit, and I'm willing to take that option. Now, what I've done here is I've also updated the trade here inside of the group. I'm typing that up right now. You can see I'm just updating where I just trailed my stop loss to, just around break even, and I will get that out to members. Remember, you can see the trades that I'm taking in real time by clicking the link in the description and joining our Discord channel, and you can get access to our market scanner down below as well. So there we go. I'll pause and give this a little bit more time to play out before I come back with an update. All right, guys, so a bit of a heartbreaker here. We ended up closing out. You can see price popped up here, took us out of the trade, and we are out for not a lot of money. Of course, we had a lot more on the table at one point, and these are the sort of videos that are actually more painful than a losing video for me to post on YouTube.
Where is it? Where's the rest?
Because I understand it's the worst feeling ever when you have a trade that goes back against you after it's gone in your favor. A lot of times people will tell me that I should be taking partials, that I should be closing my trades out when they're profitable, and I understand that. In this certain situation, I absolutely agree with you. I shoulda, coulda, woulda taken partials, taken profits, etc. But here's the thing. This happens to me often where I have a trade that starts out really well, and then it comes back and takes me out. And that can be very frustrating, especially if you don't really have full understanding of the strategy that you're trading. So for me, I understand that this is gonna happen to me sometimes, and it's something I have to endure to potentially catch those big trades that occasionally come on my channel. There have been some trades that I've recorded on here where they just keep going and going and going, and I trail my stop very loosely, and that's what's keeping me into those amazing trades. So there's a devil's advocate for whatever trading style you use. I understand that this is, of course, not the coolest video ever, but
It's pretty cool, I guess.
hopefully it gives you an insight into what real trading looks like. No matter what strategy you use, there are times with the markets where it's gonna make you look foolish, they're gonna make you feel silly, and it is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you learned something, make sure to hit the thumbs up button down below and hit the subscribe button if you're new. Thanks for watching. Looks like it's time for your next trading video. Check out the videos here and here for more free trading content that should help you in your trading journey. We try and keep it real here, so make sure to subscribe for more content that is down to earth, realistic Forex trading content. See you in the next video.